Yo guys, how's it going? My name's Zumzi and welcome back to another Fault video. This video I'm going to be carrying on with my series of how to carry. So I'm going over every single role and eventually every single hero that is in the game, to how to carry with them specifically and how to carry in your lane and always win your lane. This specific episode I'm going to be going over offlane and how you should be always playing offlane, or the basics of offlane that allow you to win your lane and eventually help win your team win the game. Now, first thing I want to go over is helping the jungler at level 1. People don't understand how important this can be. However, some junglers may prefer not having help. For example, Sevrogs and Chimeras due to their passives / their base stats. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about is, so most of the times people don't end up helping their jungler normally the jungler doesn't take the correct pathing. This can result in your early game being very weak for your whole team and not just you. Here I'm looking at my which abilities to upgrade. This is because you always want to upgrade the ability which has the most amount of damage. Secondly, now let's talk about what you want to do in offlane. So within offlane, trading and wave management is one of the most important things. You saw here that I went in on the Sevrog despite the fact that I believe I'm a level behind, but why I did this was because I knew, due to my shield that I get passively and Titan shield, due to my right click by the way, it allows for me to have the better overall trades. This leads to me forcing him into a fight. Secondly, hitting him causes minion aggro, which allows me to pull the enemy wave further towards my tower. This is good because it allows me to freeze the lane on my tower, allowing me to have safe and easy farm compared to him, who he has to push into my area and allows for an easy gank if my jungler did decide to gank. Now, the main idea of wave management is freezing / forcing. In a nutshell, freezing you want to do when the enemy laner is next to you. You want to do this to get easy farm and safe farm. However, if the jungler decides to leave, you want to force the lane and force the whole wave to crash into his tower. The reason here you see me lose a lot of HP is because I end up trying to freeze my lane under my tower by pulling them out to the side. This is good because it carries the freeze on. However, if I didn't do that, it would have led the freeze to crash into my tower, resetting the whole wave and eventually pushing to his side. Now, the thing that I want to talk about here is ward placement. Ward placement is very important, and this is, in my opinion, the most overpowered ward in your lane. This is because it allows you to see the enemy jungler gank from his blue side, allowing you to have very easy farm, especially if you're already in mid-freeze. Next thing I want to go over is going back to your lane after you've reset. Now, this is very important to go through the jungle rather than your lane, because this way you can see potential counter jungling such as this. Map awareness is very good because I didn't actually see this guy on my screen. However, I was looking at my map and I saw his icon pop up on the map. The reason why I'm going on this is, first of all, I have the advantage levels wise and probably items wise because I just reset. However, I also know that my countess is good at rotating, so I go all in and I know that the countess is ready to rotate too. However, if I went through my lane, we would have never saw this. He would have gotten more farm and eventually maybe even gone back to his jungle without doing anything. When resetting, you want to go back always when you have low HP or mana, just because you don't want to give the enemy laner an advantage. Now here I can see my jungler coming in. So what I want to do is, I can see that my jungler was in the blue side, so he's definitely going to come in for a gank. So if I do an all-in and I go in here, this allows for us to not only do some damage to the enemy offlaner, but also if my jungler does come in, as he did here, it allows us to get an easy kill because I know we both have 2 movement blocking abilities. Now, the next thing that I want to go over is the different perspectives and knowing your champion perfectly. In this case, you just saw me play a game with offlane Kwang. However, this time around, I'm going to be playing an offlane Steel game. Now, the reason why I want to show you guys this is just knowing your champion can make a huge difference in the lane. I knew my champion's abilities in Kwang, which allowed for me to easily do trading, easily do all the other stuff. Now, whilst I'm going back to lane, I want to talk about another thing, which is checking your enemy's items. This is incredibly important because if you know what the enemy is building, you can somewhat counter it, and it also allows you to know whether or not you have the advantage in your lane. So for example, if the enemy has one more item than you you know that you shouldn't be going in for 1v1s, or if the enemy has something that counters an item of yours, you know you shouldn't be going in for a 1v1, stuff like that, which is very important, because in this lane 90% of the time it's literally just going to be a 1v1 scenario. This does mean that you should be looking at whatever your whole team is doing and having the best map awareness. Now, the thing that I notice here is that I can see that the enemy laner is not in his lane. Therefore, instead of freezing the lane, I want to force it. So what I end up doing is I end up using my abilities as well. I haven't started to do so yet. I can see that the enemy has a lower amount of HP, and I know that I have a lot of stuns as steal. So what I realize is I should actually just start going in for clearing this guy's whole wave and crashing his wave into his tower, forcing my level 2 early. This is really good because my level 2 allows therefore for me to have 2 stuns rather than 1 compared to his first 2 levels, which is his Q and probably his E, meaning he doesn't even have an escape. Now this results in easier trades, and this results in me being able to farm this wave much easier than he can. Now, whilst this is happening in the background, I want to go over what wins the lane most of the times. As an offlaner, the most important thing that you can do is get last hits. Even if you die 100 times, okay, not 100 times, but if you die a lot, even if you have more CS, you still win your lane. You can still win your lane if you've died way more than the enemy has. This is because you'll have more items, you'll have more farm, you win your lane. Now, next thing I want to actually somewhat go over is level advantage. One very important thing about level advantage is that it gives you will have more HP than the enemy, and you will also have better base stats than the enemy 9 times out of 10, unless they've got better items than you at that stage. Now over here I can see that I have reached level 6 when he is still level 5. This is why I end up going in, because I know that I should be able to beat him. Being a level 6 especially, this means I have my ultimate and he does not. The weird thing here is whatever happens here, the fact that for some reason 2 of my hits didn't register and I end up not getting this kill. However, I understand that due to Greystone's passive, maybe 1 of my hits should have been blocked, but I don't understand why 2 hits actually ended up being blocked. But either way, I should have won that 1v1. It could have been a bug, it could have just been me messing up, but yeah. You can see in the chat even I'm very confused about what the hell just happened. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the item I have on me now. This is a gate scroll. The reason why gate scrolls are very, very important as an offlaner is because just because you're an offlane, that doesn't mean you should be fighting with your team. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be fighting with your team, sorry. This is because sometimes, like around 10 minutes, you always have some sort of scenario like a raptor fight where you know the enemy team is going to be taking on your team. 9 times out of 10 this is normally a 4v4. However, if you can literally just buy an item for 400 gold, like this item, Gate Scroll, which allows you to go to different areas of the map, or different friendly turrets of the map, it allows you to get into the team fight almost instantly, allowing you and your team to have 5v4 or even 5v5, which makes it much easier for your team if the offlane if the offlane does end up rotating to the fight too. This resulted in not only me getting advantage due to getting kills and assists, but it resulted in my whole team getting a huge advantage. Now the reason you see me put that big ass shield down is because it results in enemies being slowed too, which honestly I should have done much earlier rather than just at one point. But nonetheless, we end up winning the team fight with 4 kills and none of us dying. A huge change that could have maybe not happened if I didn't come in and also ultimate. Therefore, you should always be aware of having Gate Scroll, as Gate Scroll changes fights for you and your team. Now, the next thing that I do want to kind of go over is your whole idea of mind games. This is because your mind games are very important as you are in a 1v1 lane. Mind games, this could include just either A, the enemy thinking you are better than them, or B, the enemy thinking they are better than you. If you play this right, you can always end up getting the advantage in your lane. This is why, as I can see, my teammate jungler is actually in the blue buff, the enemy's blue buff area, which means he has for an easy gank. Therefore, if I start aggroing the minions and the enemy by going in, even though I know I lose the 1v1, I can make him think that he would beat me in a 1v1 if I all-in'd him. Therefore, what I end up doing is I end up forcing the fight, but also I end up putting a ward in the normal place, because this ward will result in us not being ganked if we do go in for a 2v1 here. So now, because he thinks he can beat me because of that mind game play before, I end up going all in and he ends up getting all in, which results in an easy fight for me and my jungler, because I know that my jungler is coming and he doesn't know that. Unfortunately, as it is Greystone, we do end up not killing him. At the same time, it was kind of because we had a miscommunication between our ults. However, either way, we wouldn't have killed him, I think, because he has his ultimate anyway, and it resulted in whatever just happening. Overall, as a summary to the video, I want to talk about what I went over and all of that. So, step number 1, always remember to help your jungler. Number 2, you always want to have wave management, as CS wins the game. Not kills, not assists, CS, and also pings. Pings meaning SS, so if your teammate leaves, always tell everyone that your teammate's leaving, or you could rotate with them and follow them into whichever lane they're going unless they're backing. This is because you can also help with ganks on mid lane, which is another one of your jobs. If you have your lane all the way pushed up, you should go for a gank in mid lane. Now, I went over helping the jungler, wave management, so CS and freezing and forcing. I went over trading and when you should trade. I went over ward placement, so where you should place your wards. Another example of a good placement of a ward is a deep blue enemy jungle ward. So this is really good because it helps your jungler and your mid laner with vision, plus it gives you an idea where the enemy jungler is too. Next thing I went over is making sure you check the items that everyone in the game has. This can highly affect your team. Next thing I talked about was all-ins and when you should be going for all-ins. Respecting minion advantage was a huge thing, and a lot of these things that I am talking about are going to be repeated in every video for how to carry, because a lot of the things are the same, such as wave priority and stuff like that. Now, wave priority I didn't talk about much in this video, so I'll go over it quickly. Wave priority is how far your lane is pushed up to the enemy team's tower, sorry. So like right now in this scenario, I have 0 wave priority. However, if I force the wave into the enemy tower, I have maximum wave priority. This is good and bad. It's good when you have maximum wave priority if you are going in for a gank, or if you're going in for raptors or gate scroll play. Therefore, this results in the enemy laner not having his maximum farm. It results in his minions being destroyed by tower rather than him sometimes, and stuff like that. Next thing that I went over was gate scrolls. Gate scrolls are one of the most important things that I don't see. Literally, I've seen like 2 people out of 120 games. I've seen 2 people use gate scrolls, and this was in the highest elo by a player called B Certified, who was a professional last year, I believe. Not last year, sorry. During Paragon times, he was a professional. And right now, he's top 50 in the world, if not like top 25 now. He's incredibly good. And he uses gate scrolls, I use gate scrolls, and a lot of the other top 50, top 100 players in the world use gate scrolls as offlaners. Overall, this is the basics of offlane and what you should be doing in offlane. If you guys do have any questions or anything you want to leave, you want to talk to me about, leave them in the comments down below. I'll be making sure that I reply to pretty much everyone. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe for way more content, because I'm going to be trying to upload 1 or 6 videos every 7 days, if not. This doesn't include my game of the day videos. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to get out as much content as possible for you guys, hoping you guys do end up learning quite a lot from these videos, as I do enjoy making all these types of guides and tutorials / gameplay videos as well. Overall, like I said, comment, like, subscribe, anything you guys want, what you guys want to see in the future, literally anything, comment it down below. I'll try to go over it, and peace!